Now, the agenda for today would be configuring custom dashboards, use of various report types which are available in Applications Manager, forecasting trends using machine learning, and lastly, we will discuss about various admin activities, which includes template library, service level agreement, and downtime scheduler. The first topic for today would be configuring custom dashboards. Applications Manager monitors over 50 applications and servers out of the box and tracks a variety of performance indicators for each application or server modified in a typical IT environment. However, there are certain servers and metrics that are more business critical than others. Therefore, one might want to provide more importance to those servers and the respective metrics, which can be achieved with the help of a dashboard. Now, what we see on the screen is the default dashboard which appears when a user logs into Applications Manager. The dashboard lets a user create a custom view based on their business requirement, and these dashboards can also be exported to custom HTML pages, or they can also be published on a larger television screens. Let us move ahead and see how dashboards can be created. Now, talking about dashboards, there are various dashboards which are available in Applications Manager, and they range from a standard dashboard, business dashboard, and a service level agreement dashboard. Now, what we see here is how a user can create a new dashboard with the help of various widgets which are available that meets the need of a user such that they can get live information of their applications. Now, this is one of the sample dashboards where a user can choose between various performance metrics, which is like the top end monitors or any threshold breakers, and other widgets like availability and health summary, top 10 alarms, or even a user can export a business view or publish a custom HTML page. Now, similar to this traditional dashboard, we also have a business dashboard which solely relies on top performance metrics, which is monitors that are highly business critical and they can be seen at a managerial level. And some of the various widgets which are available in a business dashboard includes the business metric widget, top end monitors, importing or exporting custom web pages to this particular dashboard. Now, what we see here is a user customized dashboard which has some of the widgets which are available. That includes tabular data that gives an information about one of the monitors and its performance metrics, followed by the availability and health alert summary. Next, we also have the snapshot as well as the business view, where a user can understand the applications which are present in their IT environment that is managed with the help of Applications Manager. Next, in the dashboards, we have a business view dashboard. This is one of the widely used dashboards in any IT environment. The reason being, an admin can configure or customize the business applications along with their dependencies and create a business view which can be classified or rearranged according to the user's customization. Now, this particular business view dashboard gives information about the health and its RCA the moment a user can hover the mouse onto their required applications. Now, this specific view also determines the health of an application, which is identified by the color, which is if a specific application or a monitor is green in color, it means that the application is functioning well. And if it is red in color, it means that the application has a discrepancy that needs to be checked or identified. Now, this is the traditional business view. There are two other business views as well. One, we have the top monitor group status view, which discusses about the available number of monitors and its top group view, where a user can identify the number of monitors that are available within a single monitor group, such that this group helps a user understand the overall health of a specific business group or a monitor group. Next, we have a monitor group light view status. This is widely used in a NOC room where IT admins wanted to have a comprehensive view of the entire monitor group in a single window pane, such that a user can easily understand the performance of various monitors which reside in a single monitor group. Now let us go ahead and check the UI, how dashboards work, and what are other features which can be achieved with the help of a dashboard. Now this is the Applications Manager login screen. The moment we log in, the first thing which we see is the dashboard under the Home tab. So here we have some default widgets which determines the infrastructure snapshot, which indicates the number of resources or monitors which are available. So over here in this instance, we have close to 8 different monitor types, and each monitor has multiple monitors as well. Now, similar to that, we also have various monitor groups as well under the monitor groups widget that lets a user know the availability, the health, and the monitor status as well. Now let us go ahead and create a new dashboard where a user can provide multiple widgets, for which a user has to click on the actions and click on new dashboard, where a user has to specify a unique display name and also identify the number of widgets that are required for the dashboard to have these widgets displayed. Now let me choose certain performance metric widgets, which is top N monitors and availability and health summary, last N alarms, and I can also choose a business view widget or a topology map view, which lets a user understand or segregate the monitors based on various locations. The moment we click on create, we will have the dashboard with the information that is available. Now it is up to the user who has to decide which monitors are required to be displayed on this specific widget. Now let me go to the top N monitors as well. A user can choose multiple monitor types, which is the monitors that are added in Applications Manager and various metrics which are highly business critical. Now we have an option where a user can choose between various available metrics from the monitor page, which is the transaction time or response time for a specific monitor type. And if the user also is interested in monitoring other aspects as well, one can easily choose additional metrics as well. And a user can also customize how the dashboard should be looking. Is it through a bar chart or is it with the help of a line graph? And there are other options as well with which a user can easily explore and have a dashboard which looks much more presentable. Now we have all the information provided, and once we click on save, the monitor will have the information. Now the reason why we do not have any information unavailable on this specific metric is if a monitor does not have any polled information or does not have a data that is being collected, the dashboard will not fetch any information. Now that being said, let us quickly move to the business view. Business view in Applications Manager will list out all the monitors along with their parent monitor groups, and it will be displayed in a single view, which is under the business view. And now it is up to the user who can create multiple views that can be viewed on their dashboard the moment a user logs in. Now I have created a view prior to this, which is a test view where a user can differentiate between various business views, which is a top group view or light view status or the traditional business view. Now there are various settings which can easily be configured, for which a user has to click on view settings, and under display properties a user can choose between various monitor groups, and more monitor groups can also be added with the help of these options. Now that being said, This is one of the dashboard which was created, and now this dashboard can be exported or published on a plasma screen or a custom HTML page, for which we have an option under Actions dropdown, which is Publish Dashboard, which gives a user the feasibility of obtaining the iframe URL, which can be copied and it can be exported to a custom web page like what we have right now. So this dashboard is a real-time dashboard that gives a user a bird's-eye view of how well the applications are functioning. Are there any critical alerts, or is the application functioning well with the help of various widgets which are available in Applications Manager. With this, let me move to the next module, which is use of various report types. It is quite ideal for any monitoring infrastructure that a user has to ensure various reports are pulled for each and every monitored metrics. The reason being, this gives a wider perspective of the application's performance at various time frames. Now in Applications Manager, we have more than 100 plus inbuilt report types that is available for almost all monitored metrics. And some of the reports range from capacity planning, downtime, inventory report, end user monitoring report. Now this is a capacity planning report which helps a user identify the hardware costs, and it makes an IT admin use the existing resources to its maximum efficiency while minimizing the wastage of computing resources. The capacity planning report can be available for physical servers and virtualized environments. Now, under the capacity planning, a user can provide a custom threshold for the undersized as well as oversized or an idle server. So here we have options for the CPU as well as memory utilization, where a user can easily identify and ensure that their resources are well utilized, which is right size the existing resources in an IT environment. Now, what is capacity planning? There are various terms, one for the oversized and one for the undersized. So if a specific resource use less capacity than the provided threshold, then it would indicate the specific server or a virtualized environment is oversized. On the other hand, if a machine uses its resource capacity more than its threshold, then the machine is undersized. So with the help of these report types, one can easily identify what needs to be done in order to optimize the available resources. Next in the reports is the trend analysis report, which helps a user understand the utilization of a specific monitored metric at various time frames. And when I say various time frames, I refer to the last 7 days or last 1 week, 30 days or 1 year, which is the maximum time interval. Now the trend analysis report gives a historic information about a specific metric, and at the same time there are other attributes as well, which is hour of the day report, day of the week report, statistical report which lets a user understand what was the threshold at a given time interval. And lastly, we have a heat chart that determines how well the applications are functioning and what was its threshold at various time frames. Now, in the third week of our webinar, we discussed about end user monitoring. Now, end user monitoring also requires a reporting option. The reason being, in a vast environment, there might be various locations where the end user monitoring agent might have been deployed, and there might be a need where an IT admin who manages Applications Manager would want in-depth information about the availability, the downtime, as well as response of the EUM agents at various locations. The same can be obtained under the end user monitoring report. Now next is the downtime summary report, which is once again widely used report across all the users using Applications Manager. And the reason being, if a specific admin might walk into office after a vacation and he or she might have to understand or identify what was the performance metric or what was the application's availability over a period of time. So with the help of the downtime summary report, a user can easily identify how long a specific resource was under downtime and for what was its total duration and the reason. Was it a planned maintenance or was it unexpected? So all these reasons can be identified. Next in the reports, we have an inventory report. This is widely used whenever there is an internal audit. Earlier, people have to manually identify the number of monitors that have been added and understand the type of user that was associated, and at the same time the port number, if in case there needs to be any change that is required to be done on the resource. But with the help of this report type, a user can easily generate a report as a PDF or a CSV that helps understand various resources which are available in their applications manager. Now, under reports, we have one of the most interesting report types, which is the forecasting utilization, along with enabled machine learning. The reason being, forecast report helps any IT admin predict the usage of a specific resource over various time frames. And with the help of the machine learning, a user can easily understand when exactly a resource is going to be full. Let us say if a monitored server has its disk that is being constantly violating its threshold, and with the help of the machine learning, application manager predicts the disk utilization, letting a user know when exactly it is going to be 90% full or when exactly is it going to be 100%. Now, that being said, let us move ahead and discuss how reports can be scheduled. So far, we have discussed the reports which can be manually pulled. Now, what if a user walks into office on a Monday morning and a report has to be arrived on the email the moment an admin opens the email? So they will have information for all these reports over a specific time interval, which can be downloaded as a PDF or a CSV file once again. Now, there are various report settings with which a user can easily tweak how the reports are required to be presented. Is it with the help of a bar chart or a line graph, or does the report requires a plot shape such that it lets a user know when was a spike identified? And also, if a specific organization desires to have their custom logo or their organization logo under their reports, the same can be imported from the logo settings. With this, let me go to the UI and have in-depth information about the reports. So before we get into the reports, one has to ensure that any monitored metric for which a report is being pulled needs to be enabled, for which a user can go to the admin tab. Under reporting, we have an option called enable reports. Let us say if a user wants to identify the information about servers, and here are some of the default metrics which are checked. So user can easily enable more report types, which is a block process or idle time, and click on save. It takes an hour interval to have these information archived, and once the archival begins, the reports are easily accessed. First in the reports is the trend analysis report, where we can identify in-depth information about various performance metrics, which is like the response time or the at a glance, which gives information across all available monitored metrics. Now, this is the history report of the response time of a specific monitor. We can also toggle between various time intervals from this drop down. And similarly, we also have other options like the hour of the day, which helps a user understand the utilization at various time frames, and the day of the week, where a user can once again understand or get more information across a specific interval. And lastly, we have a heat chart that identifies the threshold which was provided to a specific monitor. Now, the end user monitoring report is something which will help a user get granular information about the resources which are located across various locations. So if we have an at-a-glance report for the end user monitoring, it lets a user identify the downtime as well as its uptime. And at the same time, it also lets a user know various other performance metrics like the response time, the number of packet loss, and the number of packets that have been received, and many other metrics which can be identified from this report type. Now, if a user wants to get more information, a user can click on one of these existing options, which will give in-depth information about a specific monitor. Now, next in the reports is the inventory report. Like I said, this inventory report is absolutely useful whenever there is an IT audit going on. So with the help of this generate report option, a user can understand the information which was provided to a specific monitor or a group of monitors when they are added. Like what we have here is the display name, the resource name, type of monitor, and the category. Finally, the username with which a monitor is added along with the polling interval. Now, under capacity planning, as we see, the capacity planning has the ability to help a user right size their available resources with the help of the undersized, oversized, or idle servers. A user can click on one of the options and it lists out all the available servers in Applications Manager, and down below it also lets a user configure a custom threshold for one of these monitored attributes. Now, lastly, we have the forecast report. This forecast report helps a user easily predict various options like the response time of a specific monitor, while it gives a wider perspective and much more granular details while it compares the trend for a different time interval. Like what we did right now is choosing 3 months and comparing its trend with the next 5 months. So this information is what we have. And now if we click on one of these monitors, this will easily help a user understand the forecast and predict what exactly its forecast data is going to be at various time frames, and with which a user can easily understand and optimize their available resources. Now let us go into the scheduling of reports. There are two ways. One is under the reports tab, which is by clicking on schedule reports, or a user can go to the admin tab and click on schedule reports under reporting. These reports are available for almost all the metrics which are available, and they range from availability, health. If a user wants a report for a specific performance metric, we can make use of the attribute, from which a user has to identify the application type or the monitor type, and then a user has to choose the monitors, followed by the recurrence information as to how often a report needs to be triggered automatically. And would it be a PDF kind of report, or is it a CSV report, or would it be published as a link in the email? So these are some of the various options which are available where a user can schedule reports. Now, with that being said, we have other options under report settings where a user can customize the data retention period for those metrics which are enabled for reporting. The maximum time frame that can be provided is 365 days. And similarly, we also have logo settings where a user can import their custom organization logo. And lastly, one of the most important aspects under reports is export data protection, such that whenever a report is triggered, it lets a user provide a password with which a user can get information into the report. Now, with the reports being done, let us further proceed with various admin activities. First in the admin activity is the template library. Under template library, there are two different options. One is the server process template and the other one being a service template. Now, in any monitoring infrastructure, it would be quite ideal that there are various servers which are available for monitoring. Now let us assume that if a specific organization has 15 to 20 different Windows servers as well as Linux servers, now it would be a tedious task for any user to add the services or the process manually going to each and individual monitor. So in order to avoid these hassles, we have provided an option where a user can make use of these templates with which a user can easily associate the number of processes as well as the services to the respective server monitors. Now we also have various other activities like admin activities, which includes downtime schedule. So usually IT operations distinguish two types of outages, and they being planned and unplanned. So planned outages are absolutely necessary to carry out essential maintenance, which requires patching their servers or having an upgrade of their existing systems, for which a monitoring solution might not identify if a specific maintenance was planned or was it unplanned. So in order to overcome these scenarios, we have an option where Applications Manager lets a user create a maintenance window, which is with the help of a downtime scheduler. So all a user has to do is identify the resource, provide a specific time frame, which is once in a week or daily, or maybe only for once. And once the time frame is identified, a user can segregate between specific monitors or specific monitor groups. And there are various other options under scheduler settings as well, which lets a user decide how well their applications have to function whenever a specific resource is under maintenance. Now let us go ahead into the UI and discuss these admin activities, for which a user has to go to the admin tab. Under discovery and data collection, we have the option called template library. This template library lets a user create one each for process and for service as well. Now let me show you an existing template for process. Now this specific option lets a user add multiple processes into multiple monitors with a single shot, where a user can provide a common template name and also add multiple processes by identifying the number of processes which are available from a specific set of resources, be it Solaris, be it Windows, or be it Linux for that matter. Now once a monitor type is identified, the moment we click on show process, it takes a while before it populates the list of all the processes which are running, and a user can add the required amount of process from this window. Now that being done, there are other options as well under processes, which is a user can provide a threshold for other options which are available under the server monitor. And these options include CPU usage, errors occurred under that particular server, memory information, the overall health and availability. And now what we did so far was creating a specific template for an individual server. Now with the help of this template option, the moment we choose specific monitors which are available and click on save template, this particular template would be applied for these monitor types. Now similarly, we have one for the service, which is the Windows service template, where a user once again has to identify the resource, which is Windows Server, be it Windows 10 or Windows 12 or 2016, and identify the number of services, by which a user has to click on this option, which is choose service detail, and choose the monitor type and click on show service. This will display the available services which are running in the current chosen environment, and it lets a user choose one or multiple services and add them for monitoring. Now that being said, a user also has the option of configuring threshold for the availability of these services, which has an impact on the server monitor. Now this template option once again helps a user associate the same threshold along with the same services to various other available Windows monitor types. Now with this, let me move to the next module, which is the downtime scheduler. The same can be identified under the admin tab. Under downtime scheduler, we have the option where a user can create a new schedule by clicking on add new, and this will let a user create a maintenance window for the available monitors or monitor groups. So the moment we click on add new, it lets a user provide information which is task name and various other recurrence details like how often does this downtime needs to be effective. Is it once in a week, or is it daily, or is it just once? With this, a user can ensure that the applications does not send out alerts during its planned maintenance phase. Now this time frame window helps a user provide a custom time interval as to when exactly the monitor needs to be under maintenance or a monitor group needs to be under maintenance. So down below we have the options, which is by monitors or monitor groups. The moment we identify the number of monitors which are available or the monitor groups and we click on save, the schedule will be created and it would be effective from the time that was provided until the time that is given. Now here we have an option under the downtime scheduler settings such that this displays the health of a particular monitor to be green and not show its status as down when the same is reflected on a dashboard. And now if there are more monitors which are under maintenance or more monitor groups which are under maintenance, the same can be identified from the respective tabs, which lets a user understand or identify the amount of monitors which are currently under planned maintenance. Now the last admin activity which we are discussing in this webinar would be service level agreement. Service level agreement has a management console which would essentially help the manager to have an integrated high level view of their business critical applications or even a monitor group and servers. And if in case any of these SLAs are violated, they can be escalated with the help of an email, which can be seen further in this session. Now this is a default console for managers which displays the information for a set of monitor groups where we can understand the downtime, the number of events, its mean time to repair over various time frames. Now what we see here is an SLA console for the servers where we see the available servers which are added in Applications Manager along with the downtime and the number of events which have recurred over various time intervals. Now, added to this, it also lets a user identify if a specific resource was down or was it running up, is it under a planned maintenance or is it not managed for monitoring. Now creating an SLA is pretty straightforward because a user has to provide information like a common display name, and this is where the SLA rules comes into place, where the manager has to decide how the SLA has to be fixed for a specific monitor group. So if a monitor group's availability is greater than 90 and there are less than 10 different alerts in a month, which means it satisfies the manager's requirement and the SLA is met. But what if the availability is less than 90 and there are more than 10 different events within a week, not a month? This causes an SLA violation, which can be sent as an email with the help of an SLA violation email that can be provided in the SLA window, where a user can provide multiple recipients or just a single recipient. Now let us get into the UI so that we can see how SLAs can be accessed, for which a user has to go to the Reports tab, and down at the bottom we have the option called SLA Management. So this specific UI gives a wider perspective of all the monitor groups which are available, where a user can understand if a specific monitor group has met its SLA or what was its availability and the number of events which occurred. And similarly, we have one available for the servers as well, which is under server SLA. So over here, we do see various options, like some of the server monitors are critical, while some of the monitors have certain extent of availability and a specific monitor which is unmanaged. Now, with all these information, we also have various events which can be identified by going to the Events tab. So this Events tab helps a user understand the number of events which occurred at various time frames. So what we see here is 16 different events which have been identified on a specific monitor group for today. And similarly, there are various other time intervals as well, which lets a manager know what was the application's performance. Now, the settings window is where a user can create an SLA with various options which are available. So this particular SLA helps a user provide a specific name, which is the SLA name, and use this SLA for a business application, which is a monitor group or series of servers. Now, the threshold can also be associated from the same window, which is if the value goes beyond 90%, that the availability is pretty good and the SLA is met. Similarly, we can also provide the number of events to be recurring with the help of these threshold options. And lastly, we can associate these SLAs to specific set of servers which are available in Applications Manager. And now, that being said, the escalation rule or the escalation email can also be triggered from the same window with the help of escalate SLA violation with an email. Now, with this, I would conclude the webinar where we have discussed in-depth information about how dashboards can be used in a business environment and how they can be exported to custom HTML pages in various report types, which includes a downtime report, auditing report, and creation of services and processes with the help of a template, some planned maintenance windows, and lastly, we did discuss about the service level agreement for manager view, which is the business application, as well as servers.